Welcome, 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 everyone, to the Women's Empower Network. I am so excited to have another interesting interview for you today. And we have with us Lynne, and she is going to share with us her story and her journey about us getting older and how to do that gracefully. So thank you for being here, Lynne.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. So, my own story really, of course, there are years that take you to get where you're at, but I had years of yo-yo dieting, never realizing the impact it had on your health. And then when we moved to Florida, I started getting migraines on a daily basis, debilitating migraines. And so I went through this yo-yo stuff and beginning to feel the difference in my body, having high blood pressure, high cholesterol, um, never having energy, always at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, falling asleep at my desk. But the migraines were what really brought me to a halt, thinking there's got to be something different that I can do. So I started checking around because I wanted to better my health and then get rid of the migraines. So I started college at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And at the same time, Tampa General Hospital here in Florida has a wonderful holistic headache clinic. So I was doing the two things together. So I learned all about holistic living and a holistic lifestyle and how to better your health. And I teach it to people in easy steps. But for me, because I was in so much debilitating pain, it had to be a quick journey. It was really nice because what I learned in college, what I was learning at the headache clinic went hand in hand because of their beliefs in the holistic health realm. And before too long, my blood pressure had gone down, my cholesterol had gone down, my migraines had. Here in Florida, we get these pressure things that come through, and they do give me a headache, but I just was so much no more 3 p.m. slumping at my desk. And it was just like night and day. And I just wholeheartedly took on holistic living because it so transformed my life. And my mission in life is to do the same, help other people. And yes, as we get into the midlife phase, we begin to reassess where we're at. And you suddenly realize that what went before isn't quite as long as what's coming. But, I watched my mum well into her 90s be very active and live a good life. And that's what I want to do. I don't want to go into my elder years, not being able to get around, having cane to assist me, or being sick and unhealthy. I want to have a healthy immune system, and I want to live life abundantly as I come to the latter years of my life. So I teach women to embrace a holistic approach and really learn how they can live in it's a kind of freedom, live in this freedom of healthy living and longevity and love of life again.
That's beautiful. So I have two paths I want to go down, but the first one is, can you tell us what you mean by holistic?
Yeah, so holistic takes in I think about it like a circle. It takes in every part of us. It's not just about how you eat, it's about your sleep, it's about your stress levels, it's about relationships, it's about every part of you, your spirituality. It's a mind, body, spirit connection, and every part is important. And I do what we call the wheel of life, and it shows you if maybe you're not 100% in one area and you may have this up and down squiggle, which I used to have. So it's not just about the way that you eat, it's every part of us. Holistic is embracing that whole part of us.
That's beautiful. And from what I understand too, is like you were talking the wheel of life, that if we're weak in one area and we strengthen it, it actually helps enhance all others, right?
Yes, it does. It does. We're trying to reach the maximum, which, you know, is not really easy to do, but we're trying to reach 100% in all of them. But there's always something a bit tilted that we have to work on.
Well, it's always about growing, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Well, the other thing we talked about a little bit before we came online was um, growing old gracefully in a society that puts so much emphasis on our external appearance. Can you talk to that a little bit?
Yeah, so I love embracing the holistic lifestyle in this regard, because I think that if we are being true to ourselves, we're nourishing ourselves properly, we're putting the right things into our mind, we have a good mindset. What happens is, especially with good nutrition, is it's like beauty from the inside out. So I look at some women, and not from a judgmental perspective, but I can look at them and think, oh gosh, you must be in your 80s. And then they might tell me they're in their 60s. And it really brings home to me how important it is to take care of ourselves. I think society, although it's grown quite a bit in the culture of skinny is wonderful, I think that what people are beginning to realize is when we hit midlife and beyond, we bring into play such wisdom. And although that's not always recognized, I believe that there is a movement sweeping, or a change of thought, because as women, older women, we have so much wisdom in life experiences and what we've gone through that can really help guide people into a better life. And I just think as you start seeing TV change a little bit to where you've got different looking people, it's a little bit more all-inclusive than it used to be. And I can only hope that with people like us who want to spread to the world that, hey, women really have a lot more to contribute when they reach midlife and beyond, because of that wisdom and because of all that we can bring into play. And I think if we're living that wonderful life where it's beauty from the inside out, people look at us in a different way, because they're thinking, oh, she's young and spry. You might be like me. I'm going to be honest, I'm in my 70s and I don't feel like it. I don't feel I look like it. And if people begin to embrace what your life can be like, then we'll change people's minds. I hate to see this stereotype like it was, that skinny was the only way to be, and we were always after that look of beauty, to change it to where people see the wisdom and the grace. So I think that if we're taking care of ourselves, we're going into our later years with that grace and ease, and we need to embrace it ourselves and not kind of be afraid of, oh my gosh, I'm going to be 70, I'm going to be 75, I'm going to be 80. Embrace it, live in the present moment, because whether we're 20 or whether we're 80, we're not promised tomorrow. So we need to live in the present and live it to the fullest and give of ourselves. And I think as we're giving to others, that helps keep us young as well, because we're investing in other people's lives. And I think there's nothing more rewarding than that. So I think that we can have ageless beauty. I think we can have it all. We can share our wisdom, but it all depends on how we take care of us.
That's beautiful. And that's true. I mean, it took us a lifetime to gain the wisdom we
Yeah.
have, right?
Right.
I'd be curious to hear what your thoughts are on, somebody who has relied on their looks their whole life. And regardless of how well you take care of yourself, we know there's physical changes And for some of us, that may be very difficult transition. How would you counsel somebody?
So it's really, I always start with counseling people with their mindset. Now, of course, not all people that come to me have a spirituality like I do. But really, if they can begin to see the positive, because in any given day, I'll often do quick videos on a morning regimen, if we can give gratitude for something. So I don't like the bags under my eyes. It's a hereditary thing. There's nothing I can do about it unless I went and had surgery, and I'm not paying all that money to have my eyes cut up. So I don't like my stomach. Many of us don't when we get to midlife, but we can always find something. Somebody told me several months ago, find one thing that you can be grateful for with your body. Maybe you've got beautiful eyes, maybe you've got great hair. And let me tell you that as you age, we don't always have great hair. I've just gone through a whole bout of alopecia, which is a genetic thing. And my hair's beginning to come back, for which I'm very grateful, and that's something I can give gratitude for every day. But there's always at least one thing about ourselves that we can give thanks for. And then if we're thinking about, even if you're sick and you have a hard time getting out of bed, there's probably something else that you can be thankful for, because the more we practice gratitude, or the more we thank God for the good things that he's done for us, the more our mindset changes. And I think that I used to look at my wrinkles around my eyes and I used to think, oh my gosh, what's happening to me? I just don't want this. It's just, this is awful growing older. But we have to look at the positive. A 30-year-old does not have the wisdom and knowledge that I have. They don't have the testimony that I have. They don't have a lot of all of the goodness and the mercy that I've seen in my life. So I think we've got to kind of shift away from, oh, I'm going to focus on these lines. So all these wrinkles around here that we see appearing, and focus on something different about ourselves, something different about our lives, because beauty changes, but again, it's beauty from the inside out. So whether we like the way we look or not, we've got to find something positive.
I also, I remember years ago, somebody said to me, just think, you look better now than you will in 10 years, you know? It is. And I think a lot of it is just cultural, you know,
Yes, yes.
that I think probably once upon a time when you had your circle of women friends of all ages, like we were talking earlier, I had a much older sister, you know, I could glean her wisdom of what was to come and how she dealt with it and everything, so we can have a healthy perspective. And I personally also, I give thanks that my body is enabling me, it's pain-free, and I'm enabled to move around and still enjoy and experience life. So I appreciate that, where you just find something that you're really grateful for.
And I really think there's a shift in the way that people think about age, because I'm thinking about my own granddaughters. So when I was younger and I would look at my grandparents, I would just think, oh, these are old people. You know, I mean, they're old, they're grandparents, they're old. And yet my grandkids don't think about me like that. If I make something about, well, make a joke about, well, that's just because I'm an old lady. And they're really quick to bring me to task about it and say, you are not old. So again, a lot of it is in the way that we think and we feel, and how we view our own life and how we view our own selves. And it's very empowering when you have grandchildren say that to you. But it's the culture of when we were 30, not that my grandkids are that old, but you know, we would look at people in their 70s and just think, oh, they're old, and that was it. And as you get older, they seem to be less old, but I think there's a movement that's sweeping through that that the younger generation is beginning to view us as we get older a little differently to how we viewed our elders when we were younger.
Yeah, so age is really just a state of mind.
Yes.
Yeah, because
Yes.
I'm not old yet.
Yeah.
It keeps moving out. So are there any parting words of wisdom that you would like to share with us today?
I would like to mention two things, and this is on the nutrition side of things, but two of the greatest gifts we can give our bodies as we age is to ditch the sugar and to ditch the processed foods, because those are the two things that will really age us in looks very quickly. And not only that, but if you think about a banana, and it's out for a couple of days and it goes brown on the outside and then it's mushy on the inside. Well, that's what sugar's doing to us. And it's not only on the outside, we're taking in that sugar, it's going brown and yucky as it's in our body. And so much of our processed foods is just as detrimental to our health. So just eliminating those two things from your diet as much as possible can really make a change on the outside for you.
That is so wonderful, Lynn. You are so wise.
Thanks.
So how can people get in touch with you? And do you have workshops or coaching?
I do. I have workshops. I'll be doing one again sometime in May. I have a Facebook group called the Energized Healthy Women's Club. It's all about holistic health. But my website is holistic-healthandwellness.com, and people can grab a couple of free offers there or schedule a free call with me.
Thank you. That's
Thank
wonderful.
you.
So we'll be sure to put this information above the interview so it won't be lost in the comments. And feel free to reach out to Lynn, because I can tell that she has learned a lot in her time here. And thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Coach Ginny. I appreciate it.